It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? Well, welcome, boys and girls, back to the Terry's Neighborhood Workshop. I hope you had a great weekend. I certainly did. But now it's time to get back to work. And today, I'm going to show you what we're going to do in the workshop. Are you excited for that? Because I'm excited to show you. It's going to be fun. But today, first thing we need to do is change my loafers. Now, I tried teaching you guys how to tie a shoe, but you just didn't get it. So now we're doing slip-ons. Safety first. When you're in the shop, you have to get protected with proper workwear, jacket, gloves, boots. You can't be wearing your loafers in the shop. I'm so excited that you're back, and thanks for joining me. So today, we're working on the sandrail, just like we did the last time, and the time before that, and the time before that. But I have most of the electrical all done. It's buttoned up and looking real nice. You guys were a big help on getting me to finish this up. But today, I'm going to show you how to install seats. Would you like that, boys and girls? We're going to put these two seats into that car. It's going to be great. So once again, thanks for joining me. And I hope you enjoy this, and I hope that you learn something. All right, seats are back in. Console's in, dash is done. Little steering thing works. Hooked up the tail lights, which I hadn't done before. Whoops. Tail lights. Tail lights. Hold. Okay. Now we should have some tail lights, which I do. Really cool little rigids. A little hard to see in the light, but yeah, those look good on there. So we had 4 cheesy little LED ones on here. So I welded those holes back and put them down here, and then ran some new wires in there. So electrical is 100% done. And then I'm going to start on the axles, make sure that these axles fit. So one of the cool things about the Switch Pro, and I keep going back to this because it's so cool, but right now the way I have it hooked up is the ignition. When you turn that on, the headlight and the light bar and the starter, the only way those 3 can work is with the ignition turned on. So right now we have no start. But with the Switch Pro, I actually hooked it up to just the battery so I can kind of test it. But I don't want this running on battery all the time. You really don't need to have your lights on. So all I have to do is just go back in there and you don't need my code. So Switch Pro and connect. Settings, and then configure switches, battery ignition, and then right now I have headlights on the battery. I'm going to switch that back over to ignition, and then got to get out, get out, get out. All right, so once you're out of this thing, then you can go back to this. Now you see the headlights don't work. Turn on. Now they work. So if I turn the ignition off, then it kills all that. So it's pretty neat. But yeah, all that stuff's done now. So like I said, Only thing that's left is get the axles and then build a wing. But after I get the axles in there, I can actually drive this thing and see how she rips. So let's get that done. I kind of got in the zone and I forgot to show you guys how to take this apart. But I'll show you on this side. Basically, there's 6 bolts on the outside there. You got to take the caliper off. Then the rotor just pops off thusly. And you see a little bit of a mess in there. Once you get that out, this outside, so this is a mid-board hub system. This is a big, huge taper bearing right here. That pops out of there. It's kind of a tightish fit. It's not press, but it's a good slip-on fit, so you just kind of have to work it and get that popped out. And I already have the new CV in there. So this one's got some really nice Gear 1 Super CVs. Are all polished and everything. They're really, really nice. So that's the one that came out of it. Still pretty good, it's usable, so, but these are much better. And the axles that he had, he wasn't 100% sure if they were going to work, and they do look like they're the right size. So that's pretty cool. So get this all put in there. I got to clean that hub. That goes back on the outside, bolted together. It squeezes this all together. And then basically all I have to do is stick the CVs on there, boots, CVs, and then clips. So customer went and bought that stuff for me because I didn't have them. So flanges and clips, get the CVs put on there, and then after all that's on there, then I smack some grease in there and then put it on. So that's going to be for another day though, so I'm kind of done for today. I really didn't get a whole lot done because I had to install a new hydraulic power unit for my lift. This one was starting to give me some problems. That's the original with this lift, and it's an old rotary lift. The thing's pretty old. So I got a Weaver. I really haven't bought too much from them guys, just because, you know, it's so cheap that it can't be good kind of thing. But I have talked to people that have bought Weaver and they really don't have any issues. So this is a really nice looking unit. I mean, it doesn't look like it's a piece of crap for sure. A little bit bigger tank, but same rated on the motor, and it seems to work great. Works a lot quicker than my other one did. And you can adjust the up and down with these guys over here. So I backed off the going down part of it, backed that all the way out. So it's still pretty slow, but it's it's not too bad. So it took half a day. So anywho, yeah, tomorrow I'll probably get these in and then get it all buttoned up, and then probably be able to drive this thing pretty soon. So I'm going to go out on a limb and figure out, not a lot of you guys that are watching this have done safety wire before. So this is what I'm using, and safety wire pliers. So these pliers actually will spin, so it twists up this metal. So you have to have bolts that have holes in them. You could drill them, but these are pretty hard bolts, so if you can find bolts that are already made for safety wire, you'd be well off. So first thing you want to do is just peel off kind of a large chunk. And this, oh, I was just about to say, yeah, this thing's almost empty. Good thing I already bought another box of this, or container. So just get some extra on there. It doesn't matter if you waste it, because there's going to be plenty. So basically what you're doing is you're keeping the bolt from unwinding. Wounding. So you want to have it wrapped around the top part of this, and then you want it wrapped around the bottom part of this, so it doesn't want to take off on you and unwind. So basically you want to kind of clamp it just before the second hole, and you squeeze the pliers really tight, and then you push this little lock in, and then give it a give it kind of a tug, so you're, and then right here at this point, you gotta kind of just feel for the tightness of it. You want it obviously pretty tight, but you don't want to go too tight. So just a little bit more and that thing would have snapped off. We got it pretty close. And then this one gets wrapped up into here. It's a little tricky. There we go. Okay. So through the hole this way, and now this one is wrapped around the back side. And then clamp these two together. And boop, right about there. And that's it. And then just snip off the extra, and then you can kind of bend this around a little bit. So you could do, a couple, 2, 3. You could actually do them all at once if you wanted to, but that's kind of out of my realm. That's a little bit harder. I think it's easier just to do 2 at a time, but yeah, that just kind of keeps it from twisting. I got Loctite on them and they're all torqued down, so they're really not going anywhere. Anywho, but that's all there is to it. So just repeat. I got 2 more and 3 more on the other side to do and get her done. All right, so that's what she looks like when she's done. Just a little added bit of protection on there, but it's not very often that you need these. I know on like road race motorcycles and stuff, you have to do this on the brakes and stuff, axles, stuff like that, they don't want coming off, but it's just kind of an extra little tidbit of safety. It's kind of nice. Technically you could do it on like the caliper bolts and stuff like that also, but these are all Loctited in there. I've actually seen them down on here also, which is a huge pain in the butt to go all the way around. But safety first, keeps that stuff from falling off. So just got to whip out the other side real quick, and then I'll be done with that. And then we have to order axles, so that part won't be done. I think the customer will pick it up, do it that himself, just because it's going to take a little bit to get, unless I can find them in town on Monday, hopefully. But yeah, looks pretty cool. Okay, other side's done. Same as that side, piece of cake. And that pretty much does it for today. And then I forgot if I showed you this. So I bought this on Amazon. They have different sizes, but the 32 thousandth I think is the most popular. There's one that's like 50, but that's a little bit thicker. But like I said, my last one lasted me decades. There's quite a bit of wire in there. If you use it a lot, it's not going to go as far. But yeah, this one's old. I have no idea. I could read the top a little bit, but the side is just wasted. So finally used that through. But this one will probably last as long as I'm doing repair work. So they have a kit, and you can get the pliers. You can get the pliers as well. These are also very, very old. I think, obviously I bought them at the same time, so, and they're pretty much the same design, but yeah, these things have lasted. I think they're snap-ons. Memory serves me correct. Yep, they're snap-ons. So, yeah, those things are, well, they're broke now. So, yeah, if you need them, get you a set. That'll sit there and collect full of dust. All right, so now I'm working on the wing. I had a couple of templates. This one is just a tad shorter. I made This one's 33 as opposed to 36. This originally made 9. And customer liked the height better on the 8 and the length better on the 36. So that's what came up on this guy. So now all I do is transfer that to aluminum. Actually, it looks pretty good like this. So typically I put them on top of here, but this particular bar sits kind of high already. So this one's going to go down just a little bit. Actually make it look a little bit lower. But I think it's going to look nice. Curve that in just a little bit. Round this off. Down here. Have a little flat spot here and then a little taper. So it's going to look cool. And then back here, originally I thought about coming on top of this, but that's not going to work out. So actually make some brackets come off to the bottom of this. And then probably 5x10 box, something like that. Should look pretty cool. But yeah, I'll just make a couple of brackets coming off of here. And it'll be good. So we'll do the sides next. Those are super easy. Got a few chunks of aluminum that I think will work pretty good. Just trace it out, cut it, grind it a little bit, and then put a couple of Zeus tabs on there. Zeus plate probably here and here. And then the back, once you get the bars on here, everything kind of will hold up in there. So that should work. So yeah, let's get that done. All right, got this bent up, or cut up, put into metal. Got my Zeusers on there. And then I started bending up this guy in the back. Kind of a pain in the butt to get it all kind of where I wanted it, but I think it's turning out pretty good. Looks like it has a nice shape to it. And I gotta tweak it a little bit more. This one's kind of going down a little bit of an angle. I gotta just bend that up, but be all right. Got a little bit of a angle on this. Looks kind of cool. So I think we're good. Kind of matches my lines that I put on there. So this one could probably be kicked back just a tiny, tiny bit. I don't know. We'll see. Actually, it looks pretty good like that. So I'll keep tweaking. Yeah, but this is definitely crooked. Just got to pull that up. Kind of hard to work on this kind of stuff with. I do have a pan brake, but it's hard to get all the way around with all the different bends on there, you know. By the time you get to the last one, everything's kind of bumping into it and not doing it right. But just takes a little bit of tweaking, but I think it looks good. Has a nice shape to it. And then I'll kick this top, kick it out a little bit, give it some love there, and yeah, we'll just keep plugging away. Well, I'm on a little bit of a hold for the lid. I don't have enough material. I'm about a ½ inch short. It's like, dang it. I have some material laying around, but this big piece is just too rough. It's kind of bumpy. I can't get a good chunk out of that without having like little creases. And then this piece right here, this is long enough, but from here to here, it's ½ inch too short. It's like, dang it. So it's a Saturday, so I have to wait till Monday to go get another little piece. Hopefully I can find some scrap to get that piece done, but for now, it actually looks pretty good. It's all sanded and mounted up on there. I'm gonna wait to put the screws in until I get the top and get it all kind of situated. But for now, I'm gonna fix these calipers. I was looking at these earlier when I took them off, trying to get the CVs in there. So the gap is not right on here. It's pushed in a little too far this way. which sucks because if it was the other way, all I had to do is just put a little washer, real thin washer in between here. But because it's too far this way, I'm gonna have to actually mill these ears off just to get it right. Customer had mentioned that it's actually rubbing just a little bit. That's what this little line is right here. And I had seen that before. I'm like, ah, dang it. I thought it would be good enough, but if he says it's rubbing, I don't want to leave it like that. So I am going to fix it. So basically I just got to pull it off, stick it in the mill and mill these out. I got to measure how much. It's probably about 50 thousandths that I have to take off. You can see the piston. See the little gap in between there, how much the piston is out. And then over here, there's no gap whatsoever. So, no bueno, we'll get her fixed. All right, so I just split this thing apart. It's pretty easy. Just 2 bolts on each side and then take the pads out of the middle. Chucked up it in the mill so it's nice and flat. And then I'll just pop off 50 thousandths off of here. So first thing we have to do is kind of center this thing out. And turn this wheel right here so it touches off right there. And then I'll set this dial. Set that dial to 0, and then I take 50 thousandths, like that. 50 thousandths, tighten this up, and then just go through and mill it. Got to be careful when it gets close to that edge right there. So basically, I need both hands to do this so I can get it back and forth, but that's the gist of it. And I'll show you when I'm all done. That's it. Piece of cake. Got them all off there. So I just got to bolt them back on and see how it looks. Okay, that's better. It's kind of hard to see, but there's definitely a gap. There's a gap. You kind of see it in there. There we go. So definitely a gap. And I've got the other side done already. It's perfect. This thing's right on the money. Look at that. Almost like I knew what I was doing. And they still spin. So that's a good thing. So I just have to bleed the brakes now, which is a little hard to do by yourself, but we'll get her done. Got to crack both of these. Normal calipers, you only have one, but this side you have 2 chambers, so you do have to do both. Start from the furthest away, and it's got fluid up to here, so it really shouldn't be that difficult. There's not air in the whole system, there's only air in this. So I'll let them gravity bleed first, and then I'm just wondering what this little scratch is here. I'll gravity bleed first, and then I'll put a little pressure on there and finish it up. And I need to investigate this little scratchy scratch. It's probably from one of his wheels, but I don't have the actual original wheels going on there, so I don't know. Probably not that big a deal. It'll clearance itself out, right? All right, so got my metal, got the lid pretty well finished up. I gotta put a little more bend on this. Customer's actually coming over to help me bleed the brakes, and I couldn't get this bent. I didn't anneal it. which means heating it all up and getting it soft, and I probably should have done that, but I think I can get some help with him and put it in the old break over there. Over yonder, I just didn't have enough steam for whatever reason. Looks like it's the same size, but man, this stuff is tough. But I like putting a little bit of an edge on here instead of putting the hinge right on the corner, which a lot of people do. I think that has kind of a cool look to it. And then I'll put a bunch of those little screws in there. Yeah, turned out real good. It's all nice and straight. And then I got those latches for it. These guys right here. I guess these are like airplane latches that they use on different doors and stuff like that. So those are going to go on there. These are a little bit of a pain because I have to obviously figure out exactly where to go. They just ride right on that lip right there. So I just have to measure it all out and then get a really nice precise hole cut on here. But these are really, really cool latches. Kind of expensive. They're like 50 bucks for both of these. But I don't know. What do you think? I think it turned out really nice. It's hard to get a perspective on how the whole thing looks because it's in the car, but I mean it's in the shop on the lift. But I like it. It has a nice shape to it, nice size. Definitely what this car needed. It didn't have anything back there before. But looking good. So yeah, I'm almost finished up. Got to bleed the brakes because I fixed those calipers the other day. And then I already started buttoning up some of the loose ends on the wiring and stuff like that. You got to put the covers back on, and unfortunately I'm not going to have these axles because I can't, nobody has them, so he's going to order some and put them on himself. So that's about it for now. I get this bent and then I'll get those latches on. All right, so here's my setup. It's a little hard to get these latches absolutely perfect. So basically I measured from the edge of the back of the trunk to the leading edge of this latch, and then how far in I wanted each of those on each side. And then I just simply traced a line around the outside of that, like that. Now we have to find the center. So once again, using my tube stack here, has all kinds of different sizes in there. You can line that up. You line up your magic marker around there, and then you give it a little kerthwack, which I had already done. And now have a center point smack dab in the middle of that. So obviously there's different ways to do it, but this is one of the easiest things that I've used or found. I can't get it back in there. It fits so tight. This is one of the easiest and best ways that I have found to do setups like that. It's just, man, it makes it super easy. So I already have this side too. So I'll drill a little pilot hole just so the drill bit or the hole saw I'm using doesn't walk. And then all I have to do is just hit it with the hole saw. So I measured the size, and it was actually 1.5, but the 1.5 would fit the center step. Right, so you have a center step. That's 1.5. So if I did a 1.5 hole saw, this thing would just, it would fit, but it would be a little snug. And then I wouldn't have any room for powder coat. So I ended up going up to the next size, which I think is going to work out pretty good. And then I'll have room for powder coat and maybe just a tiny edge so it's not quite so tight. So I will cut this real quick, show you how it turned out. Well, Almost done. So I got the latches in there. These things are such a pain in the butt because this part of the button rubs, so you have to have enough clearance on there so it doesn't rub, and obviously the same with this one. They're pretty close, but you can see it's just a tiny bit offset. So I'll do a little grinding, and then see it's a little loose, so I usually put some weather stripping in there for that. But they do work. Oh, look, came with a little grinder. So I have a little bit of tweaking to do still. There's kind of a low spot right here. Gonna tap it up a little bit and a little grinding. I got one little edge that needs to be cleaned up, and then go through and countersunk all these holes. And then customers are going to pick this up tomorrow, take it down and get it powder coated. But yeah, fits, and it's pretty much done. Just a little bit of cleaning up, and that'll be it. So sides and the roof will probably go on tomorrow. He did find some axles, and those are going to be shipped. So we'll be here in a couple days. So unfortunately, all of this is delaying the video. I should have had something out last Sunday, but I just didn't have enough content. So dang it, sorry about that. But got to get all this stuff done. So this will be the last video. So it's pretty much done. Just wrapping it up. So stay tuned, and we'll get the axles in there and get it buttoned up. There's the first good heat cycle. Got this thing all done except for the axles. Sounds pretty good. Okay, so this car is done. Well, it's not done, but it's done enough. It's going to be the last of this series. I think this is number 6. Get all kinds of cool stuff on this car. If you haven't seen the whole series, go back and watch it. It's kind of fun. Basically, I got a rolling chassis from the customer with the motor and tranny in it. And that was about it. So did the whole fuel system, all the wiring. Obviously just saw this with fabricating the wing. Put some braces in there, powder coating done, add a little bit of structure, modified his air cleaner to fit, catch can, and you guys didn't really see this, but it had some wings up here that I cut off and kind of messed up his powder coat a little bit, but it had these 2 wings on there, which that would have looked really weird with the actual wing back here, which turned out really nice. I got the ceramic coating on the headers. I made the tubes here for the coolant. Those turned out really nice. Made some really cool brackets for it. Obviously all the wiring. There's some wiring back there, down there. It's all tied up nice. And did the dash insert. He had regular gauges on there before. Switch Pro and the big Holly, which looks absolutely amazing. And then all the magic under the hood. That did all the wiring on that. So yeah, this car was really fun, and it's a really clean car, so it's fun to work on stuff like this. That's going to wrap it up. I won't show putting the axles on because that's really not much fabrication involved in that. But if you guys watch the whole series, I really appreciate it. The views on here were pretty decent, so appreciate that. And all the likes and subscribes that you guys have done lately. It's jumping up quite a bit. I think I'm up to 1,050. So within the last couple months, I've gained almost 100 subscribers, which is pretty cool. It's kind of a big deal for me. And then starting to make a little bit of money on there. So that's kind of cool too. Not going to get rich, but you know, not Cletus status for sure. But hey, at least it's a couple bucks and it's pretty fun. So once again, I appreciate all you guys watching. And the next one's going to be a dunes video. And then I have another really cool Funko project coming in. So that's going to be another series on that one. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to live your dreams.